This is the House of Hockey podcast.
Where we talk about the game and the lifestyle.
We've got opinions as hockey fans, friends, and from the female perspective.
Welcome to our house.
Welcome to the House of Hockey podcast. This is episode 179. I'm one of your hosts, Ray Ray. My co-host Breezy is still on the injured reserve, but I have to wish her a very happy birthday. It was her birthday over the weekend, so happy birthday to Breezy. And also shout out to fellow friend of the podcast, Chris. She is recovering from surgery, so we are sending you lots of love and all that good healing energy. And I say we, when I say we, I mean Alma and I. Alma Laura is back as my co-host this week.
Hi, thank you for having me back. I'm so excited.
Yes, we're sending Chris lots of healing vibes and well wishes. And if you don't know who she is, look on Instagram. It's at All Tyler's Fault. She takes incredible photos of players, and she's been a guest on this podcast. And of course, happy birthday to Breezy.
Yes, love you, Breezy. Love you, Chris.
Yes. All right, we have a lot to discuss. We are clinching. Things are being clinched, Alma. We are clinching spots in the playoffs. They will start. I just read April 20th. That's like 19 days from now when we are recording. It's just crazy to think that that's already happening. I'll rattle off and get some reactions from you. So in the Eastern Atlantic, Boston and the Panthers have clinched. In the Metro, the Rangers and the Hurricanes have clinched. And then in the West and the Central, we have the Dallas Stars at number one, followed by the Colorado Avalanche have clinched. And then in the Pacific, we've still got a lot happening here. There's only one team that's clinched, the Vancouver Canucks. The Kings could make a wild card spot, right?
Well, I'm annoyed with my team because as of last week, we were in second place. So we're getting down to the nitty gritty where we've said this before, everything counts, but right now everything's under a microscope. Everything counts. We can't afford to lose, and we've been losing. I've always said you're in charge of your own destiny. Yes, other teams losing definitely helps you out a lot, but I've always said I'm not going to go ahead and get upset at Vegas or whoever they're playing because they didn't win. No. It's up to us. We got to win games. And we lost the last two, so that knocked us down to the second wild card spot. And we have St. Louis 5 points behind us. And that is absolutely nothing. Like anything can happen in a blink of an eye. So we went from, yeah, I can't wait for playoffs to, wow, we got to get there first.
So let's slow down a second here. And you also just can't hope that other teams lose either. Like that, like praying for another team to lose isn't going to get you a spot in the playoffs either.
Exactly. I see people online all upset, or I have one of my friends, he'll probably listen to it. He is always texting me, "Oh my gosh, why couldn't they lose? It's all their fault." And I'm like, I'm not upset at that. If we're not winning, it's not helping us.
It's not helping. No. I mean, it gives you like a little less anxiety about your chances, but like that's not the way to go, I don't think. Let's talk about the East for a second. We've got Toronto. The Capitals are currently in the third position. I'm surprised the Capitals are in that spot at the moment, but Tampa's not far behind, and Philly is still hanging on. They really are like a wild card. I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm cheering for my man Tortorella, like hoping that he gets a chance to bring this team there, but we'll see what happens. Also, the Red Wings are not far out either. That's a pretty close race there. And I would love to see Patrick Kane finally get back into the playoffs again. I mean, he went into the playoffs when he was a Ranger, but I would love to see him, get a chance to do that like fully healthy this season. But it's okay if it doesn't, because there's a lot of future potential there. Any thoughts on the East?
What's been going on with the Red Wings? That is what I want to know because they got off to a good start. And this is what I tell people, everything counts. I mean, I'm not putting it out in the universe, but if the Kings miss it by like say 1 point, I'm not gonna say, oh my gosh, that game in October, they
Right.
should have won or not taken it into overtime. But this is the advantage that you have when you start off hot. Look at the Red Wings. All of a sudden, I don't know what's going on. Me too. I wouldn't mind seeing them in there, but the decline
Mm-hmm.
is just like what's going on. But because they got off to such a hot start, they have a nice little cushion that's having them hang in there. So
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see them still stay in the race, but that everything is so close. And it for this division, it makes me excited because I have no fighter like in this battle. So I'm like, okay, you guys battle it out. So this is just so crazy that it's just by a very short, significant amount of points that they're divided. Anything can happen in these next couple of weeks, but I don't know. I want the Red Wings to make it. Tampa could sit this out. It's okay. They've been there. I want to see new teams. And I know the Red Wings have been known to be in the, they have that dynasty of being in the playoffs for so many years, but it's always fun to have them in there.
It is. It is. And I know Tampa is fighting really hard to try to get a seat back at the table. And I I agree. I think it might be nice to see somebody else in that spot, but they've still got quite a bit of talent there, but don't get me started on one player that shall not be named that was an all-star begrudgingly. So I like can't cheer for him. But over in the West, we've got a couple contenders here. I'm surprised that the Predators have had such a rebound
Mm.
halfway through this season to be in a position to possibly clinch. I don't know. I don't know though. Like you said, there's like just 3 points apart. Like, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? I mean, it looks like Edmonton and Vegas, or at least Edmonton will probably clinch, but there's still more games to be played there, and along with Winnipeg. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I feel like this division is just lacking. Like the West, I just feel like it's not as exciting. And I think we've said that before. I don't know. It doesn't excite me. It would excite me if my team was in, and I know it'd excite you if your team was in, but I don't know. I feel differently about this. I much prefer watching the East.
It's just like we're saying, I'm looking down and it's so crazy. Anything can happen. I'm still
Mhm.
in shock at Nashville. Like we've
Yeah.
said it before, we touched on it before. Before the All-Star break, they were sellers. Big talks
Hmm.
about, their goaltender possibly, them trading him off and to go on this run, but now you have to stop and think about, well, is this a team that the run's going to carry over into the playoffs if they clinch, or will they look run out now that it's April? So that's exciting. They have been a good surprise for me, and I know Breezy's probably ecstatic
Oh,
that
yeah.
that
I
they're in
think
the
it's
playoff race.
for sure. And it's exciting for Barry Trotz as well, who's at the helm this year, and to be able to see a rebound. I think, what was it that they were supposed to go to a U2 concert and the team canceled the trip? Was it the Preds? And
Yeah.
ever since they canceled the trip, they've been on a heater. Like they were like, no more fun. We're going to work hard, which is so interesting because we see a lot of times, sometimes the boys need to let loose and bond as a team off the ice and do these things. But Barry was like, I don't know if it was Barry, but he's like, no, you are not going to have any fun. You don't deserve this. This is not helping. You need to get your butts on the ice and in the gym and like figure out how to work hard. I mean, I hope if they get into the playoffs that they at least get to go to a U2 concert in Vegas at the end of the season.
I think if they end up getting eliminated, that's got to be like the end of the season trip to finally go to Vegas.
Yeah, they for sure deserve that, but we'll see though. I don't know if that's going to play out just yet. Any other thoughts on the West?
I am just, I don't want to say surprised at the Stars, but my goodness, the last couple of games that I've been able to catch of theirs, they'll be down and you're like, oh, this game's over. And they find ways to come back and just win, and everything seems to be working for them. Everything's clicking. And that's a team that surprised me. Not to say that they weren't going to make it to the playoffs, but they already clinched the spot. Like they're there.
They're there. They're there. They're just riding the wave until April 20th. Let's just fine tune everything, get everybody ready.
I can't believe we're in April. I can't believe it's April.
I know. It doesn't feel like it. It still feels like, I don't know, December to me. I don't know. It's been it's been a weird start of the year for me. Anyway, that's a little look at what we've got going. Something else we have to talk about is that Auston Matthews got 60 goals this season for the second time in 3 seasons. He is the third player in NHL history with multiple 60-goal seasons for an original 6 club, following Phil Esposito, who had 4 60-goal seasons with Boston, and Stevie Y had 2 when he was with Detroit. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Bravo. But like, that's great and all, but what, are you going to get a Stanley Cup? No? You going to make it to the playoffs? You going to get past the first round? Maybe the second round? Are we going to do this?
They remind me of my baseball team. Like, you have this stacked lineup going into or stack roster, hockey talk, has stack roster going into the playoffs and not be able to year after year get out of that first round. Mind you, yeah, they did it last year, but then that was it. Like, it's like, yay, you made it to the next round and it's over. Right. Congratulations. It sucks for them because I know Auston Matthews isn't your favorite. I like to watch him play. I like him. Since, what is it, the World Cup of Hockey, that Team North America team, all those guys on that team, getting to watch him there and then make that transition to the NHL. I want to see him. I don't know. I just want to see him, maybe not hoist the cup yet. I want to see my team do it first, but I want to root for him.
Your team's lifted the cup a bunch of times in the last 15 years.
Yeah, but it's been 10 since the last one. We're due for another one.
Oh,
we can't keep. We're due for another one.
How many years has it been for Leafs fans? Okay, well, I'll just let them come after you for that. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, I gotta be selfish. I gotta think of myself first. But no, I do wanna see that young core make it far in the playoffs, because they have a really, really good team, and they're one of those teams that keeps getting younger, but they mesh so well with whatever veterans they decide to bring on. But I don't know what it is. Like, these guys are so good in the regular season, then I don't know what happens in the postseason. Why can't that energy transpire to the playoffs? I don't know. They're one of the ones that I don't know. It's funny to make fun of them, but I just don't know.
Listen, Auston Matthews has a lot of talent, and I just, he's just my person I get to poke fun at, and that's it. I mean, he is very talented, and it is great to see that come out of an American-born player, of course, and it's a huge thing to celebrate, which is why I brought it up today. And I said, yay! Congrats. And that's all you're going to get. And then, I think that team is so interesting to watch. And as far as like what happens when we get to the playoffs. And maybe this year we'll get past the second round and get to the conference finals. Like maybe that will be their trajectory. And then they'll lose. And then the following year, they'll get all the way to the Stanley Cup and then maybe they'll win. So like, I'm trying to be glass half full for them, which is really hard for me. And I kind of want to vomit, but maybe that will be their path. But they're not my team. So I really don't care what happens. But
It's fun to pick fun.
it is. I mean, you know, and they're the Leafs. Like, come on, they're like such the most talked about team and all of these things that happen. But okay, I wanted to do a little follow up to a story about the Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads that went missing. So 19,000 bobbleheads went missing. And this was like shocking to me that this could even happen. And I guess there's a whole story in The Athletic, and I forgot to read it before we started, so I was trying to skim it. However, they did find them, and they were actually legit stolen. They were stolen in LA somewhere. And apparently, like, cargo thefts happen all the time. And they didn't just take the bobbleheads. They took, like, a bunch of other stuff that was apparently there. And it went, like, all the way up. The FBI got involved. Yeah. 15-person task force that included FBI and the LA County Sheriff's Department. And they thought that it was like stuck in LA. And then they like were tracking the GPS. And then all of this stuff happened. But here, wait, a 9 p.m. flight from LA to Pittsburgh was their last hope to have the bobbleheads. And they got it. Oh, they were actively talking to the extortionists. It would go dark for a while, but the culprits would touch base with the team. And then I guess they found them and got them on a plane, and they were going to have to pay to have them there.
Oh my God.
Like have them shipped. I don't know. It's a whole story. I should have really read this whole thing. So I could actually report on the facts for you guys, because the story's really long, but it was a whole investigation, and
oh my gosh,
everybody got their bobbleheads. And they're probably for sale on the black market, like Andy said they would be. And that's what's happening.
it's because bobbleheads are such a hot commodity. We see it here in LA. Like now, most of our giveaways, for my baseball team, most of our giveaways are bobbleheads. Like I want to say maybe like 70% of whatever the team gives away as giveaways are bobbleheads. And before the game before the game starts, they're already on eBay. So they're a very hot commodity.
Jesus. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Explain it to me.
It's just collectors items, they only make a certain amount, or it's said that they only make a certain amount of them, or especially one like this. It's not something that's very common, but to go out of their way, I would expect somebody to buy like 100 tickets or something, and then the story be, oh, they didn't let them, get them at the arena or whatever. But to go to this extent to steal them, who does that over bobbleheads? I collect them. Like I have mine like all up here, but not to that point where like I'm not lining up at a stadium like 3 hours before to get it. I get there. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. But to go to that extent, I don't know. That's not a me thing.
No, it's not a me thing either. And I don't know. Well, happy bobblehead. There's lots of happy bobblehead fans in Pittsburgh right now. So here we go. Something that has got me feeling unhappy these days, and I believe many years ago when we started this podcast, I had a different opinion. But you know how in Detroit they throw octopus on the ice, and in Nashville they throw the catfish and all that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm a fan of this anymore. And let me tell you why. I am now, a proud dog mom, and I know a dog is not an octopus or a fish, but animals have feelings, and like taking a dead, well, I guess they're dead and you're throwing them on the ice. I don't know. It just feels really wrong to me to like take this beautiful octopus, which are incredible creatures, which I didn't know were until I watched that documentary of Octopus My Teacher or whatever. And now I'm like, that thing is amazing, and you're just like throwing it on the ice and they're just going to throw it away, and like, do they call animal services and how do they dispose of it? I'm like, can we just get a plastic octopus and a plastic fish, and like, can we just throw that on the ice like they do in Florida? They throw the plastic rats. Like, that's just so much better. I think I'm feeling like very PETA right now, and I just feel like do not support this.
I thought, I mean, again, these are two teams they're not one of my teams that I follow. So I thought they only did that for the playoffs. So I thought like after a playoff win that's what would happen. I get exactly what you're saying. I'm gonna go ahead and play devil's advocate here. I get what you're saying,
Okay.
but I was like, if it's tradition, if that's something that they've been doing, for years, why not? But I thought it was simply just for the playoffs. But now you're seeing it before the game, in the middle of the game. You don't even know if they're winning yet. They're just being thrown around like at every point, and now they have to stop. They have to clean the ice. I'm just like,
Mhm.
for playoffs, fine. If you're gonna do it, by all means, whatever. But come on, guys, not after every win.
No, no. And I just feel really bad. I felt really bad for the octopus. Like the most recent one that happened, Alma, like the girl like pulled it out of the bag and it looked so sad. And then I just my heart was breaking for it. And I was never this person 4 years ago. I was like, hell yeah, throw it on the ice. Like that's so cool. Same thing. Tradition. Yeah. But now I'm like, I don't like this. No, we need to get fake octopus, like get me a plastic one, throw that on the ice. Like I'm good with it. Seattle does it well. Like at the end of the game, they have the stuffed fish animals, that they throw out. Like that's the way to go. I don't think I can stomach this anymore. It's too much for me.
No, and then the way they sneak it in, like,
Yeah.
oh, they have to. I'm very weird about anything like raw meat. It
Mhm.
grosses me out. Like, I'm a very picky eater. If I like vegetables, I would be a vegetarian because I just can't like, I can't stomach needing to touch raw meat. You'll see me with
Mhm.
the tongs, like, ugh, all grossed out. But I've seen it. They tape it down, and then when they throw it out, they have all the goo. Ugh.
It's
Who, who willingly is like, you know what? I got this. I'm gonna go ahead and tape the octopus to me. I'll sneak it in, and then you probably smell. That is
mhm.
so gross. I'm
Yeah.
more
And
grossed out at that. It's
I
so
know, and you
disgusting.
like you can't just like buy an octopus just anywhere either. Like that's not like a super common thing. And I don't want to see these beautiful creatures. Like it's too much for me. I think maybe I've just been having too much animal trauma in my life this last month with our household, but my opinion has changed, and I just wanted people to know that you can change your opinion.
But it's because animals, they're our kids. They change our lives.
Yeah, and they're innocent and like yeah, okay, I'm done. I shouldn't have brought it up, but here we are. Something I
No,
wanted
it's something you are passionate about and you had to voice it. I'm here for it. I'm grossed out by it too. I'll side with you on this one.
thank you. I just needed, I think, some emotional support right now about it. I think that's all I really need. But
I got you. I got you.
thank you. Let's talk about some fan etiquette. There's a video of Sabres fans booing very loudly booing their own team after they allowed 5 unanswered goals in the first period of a game against the Senators. I don't think I have ever booed my team. Like we're bad right now, but like, I'm not gonna boo them. Are you booing your own team?
My problem with that is if you're booing your team in your home arena, in your barn, whatever you call it, you're opening that door for anybody to come into your home and boo your team as well
Hmm.
because you're doing it. I don't stand for I know we had, I know you have me jump on here and we talk about hockey. One thing you will never hear me do is talk badly about my team. I will state the obvious. We're not winning, we're not doing well, whatever. You will not hear me trash my team. Yes, it's frustrating. I've been there. All sports across the board. You've been there where you're in the arena and it's frustrating.
Hmm.
But you booing makes it okay for anybody else to just come in here and boo. You're not showing your team any kind of respect. People aren't either. Fans of opposing fans aren't either. And
Hmm.
my problem with that is it sucks for the guys. I'm pretty sure like the Sabres are one of the teams that they had to make moves to rebuild. I get it. The rebuild process sucks. My team's ahead of the rebuild, but
Hmm.
it sucks. Your team's going through it.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, but and I know people will go ahead and comment and say, "Well, we're paying to get into the building. We want to see, a good product on the ice." That's fine. But again, you gotta show your team respect. I'm very big on respect. And my whole thing with you're gonna go in there and boo, it gives everybody a reason to boo. And guess what?
Hmm.
In the arena, when somebody comes in and they're booing your team, then that's how fights start. But I
Hmm.
don't I don't stand for that. I really don't. It sucks. I can imagine what the guys are going through and to be in your own arena and have to hear boos where your fans are supposed to cheer you on and hype you up, and I don't stand for that. I don't like that etiquette.
I don't either. And I think, like, the guys don't know on the ice, to your point, they know. They know.
Mhm.
It might not really be their fault, though. There's a lot of things that happen in that organization, especially with financials and money and not spending money. And the way they run that organization is very challenging. And I feel for those fans. Like, I get it. They do have some incredible talent on that team, though, who are performing, but like, and I think that's also just like a super Buffalo thing to do, Buffalo fan thing to do. I think they're not afraid to voice their opinions, good and or bad. That makes it I just can't get behind that. I would not be booing. I would be slapping the person next to me, telling them to knock it off and be quiet because that's
I
just
just
not that's not love. That's not showing love for your team and trying to rally them. And like, how about you get some chants going that are like, let's go Sabres? And I don't know, I guess it would be okay if you were like, fire the coach like they do in New Jersey, right? Like they chant like fire the coach. Okay, that's like a little weird and whatever. And then they were flip-floppy Devils fans, that's a separate argument. But like, okay, you could do that. Like that I'm a little more okay with, like fire the coach kind of thing, but booing your team, not okay with.
And I get it. And I know I probably frustrate people because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you try to be all positive and it's not always like that. Yeah, it isn't. But I'm not going to sit here and trash every single one of the players on my roster. Yes, is it frustrating when you see them struggle and
Mhm.
you see them not making any changes? Yes, that's fine. But I'm not going to sit there and badmouth them when I'm still going to go ahead and show up to their games.
Exactly.
Like I got into it with a Kings fan the last Kings game that I went to
I
because
love
we won. Mind you, we were winning. We had the lead. Tampa tied it, took it into overtime. We won, right? I get it. I can sit there and be like, you know what? This is what we did wrong. This happened, this happened. But he's sitting there and he is trashing Cam Talbot. We
Mm.
won, okay? We won. And even Kings announcers have said going into the season, they said the Kings' trouble was gonna be
Oh.
goaltending, and it hasn't been. It really hasn't. From going to some, we've struggled, and right now, yes, we're at a wild card spot, but it could be things could be different. We could be last in our division,
Mhm.
but they've carried us through the season. So to sit there and trash them, and I said, no, 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 that's not what we're going to do. I said, we won. We are going to celebrate a win. No, but you know what? I said, no, because you're right here talking smack, but you're going to be the first one to beg for tickets if and when we make it to the playoffs. I said, I
Mhm.
don't stand for this. And our friend of your podcast, Augie, told me that this particular fan got a stick from Talbot at one of the games. So you mean to tell me you collected something from a player and you're gonna trash him? I'm the
No.
opposite. If a player's nice to me, they earn my respect and I will always, have a soft spot for them. But to do that, I'm like, no, I don't stand for this. So I went back and forth with him after, like, how are you? We won. Everybody's so hyped
Right.
up. It was so awesome. And he is sitting there, oh my goodness, Cam Talbot sucks and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God. And he wasn't even drunk. That's the sad part. I
Listen,
can't stand for that.
listen, what you just described, he is literally the stereotype of LA Kings fans that ruin the reputation of your fan base because of guys like that. Who are like, he sucks, but yet, oh, I have a stick by him and it's signed, and then he's going to be begging for tickets, and then he's going to be like, oh yeah, the Kings are the best, we're the best, and you're like, I can't with you, I can't, I punch you in the face. Like, that guy I have encountered when I lived in LA, and that was my experience with Kings fans. It was a little different because we had a rivalry, of course, the Blackhawks at the time, and there was reason to have shit talking going on, but that guy ruins it for your fan base. So I'm glad you told him to knock it off, because that kind of behavior is not okay.
It's not. It really isn't. And like I said, you open the door for
Mhm.
everybody else to shit on your team because you're doing it. So
Yep.
I get frustrated after games. I will sit there and yes, I'll not rage tweet, but I'll be like, "Oh, well," or whatever, but you will not hear a bad thing out of my because I'll look dumb. I'm over here, "Oh my God, my team sucks." But look, I'm wearing a Kings sweatshirt.
Right.
Now I'm going to go to Kings game later this week. Makes no sense to me.
I have to say, I mean, I have talked badly about some of my players on the Blackhawks, and there are certain players that I don't think should be there and being paid what they're being paid for the lack of performance. But I wouldn't like all of a sudden cozy up to them and be like, oh yeah, Seth Jones, like, throw me a puck, let me have a stick, can I take a picture with you? Like, no, like, I would be like, hi, but I would not be
And that's
asking
it.
for any more. And
It
like, I wouldn't like, and I mean, I can change my opinion. Like I said, like, if all of a sudden he starts performing better, I will give him kudos for being better. I still don't like the contract he has. I don't think he's worth it, and I will stand by that opinion.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I get it. You're not always gonna like everybody on your roster. You're not
Mhm.
always going to. But in this to sit there and just boo the entire team,
No,
I wouldn't be able to do that. Like,
no.
yeah, we have it's like if and that too, it's like if all of a sudden next time you have me on here, I'm wearing a Jack Hughes sweater after being so vocal about how I feel about him. Makes no sense.
Right.
But I don't understand this fan etiquette that I wouldn't stand for. At that point, just don't show up to the games.
I agree. You know what games we do need to show up to and watch are the IIHF tournament. The Women's World Championship is happening April 3rd through the 14th. If you don't know what that is, it's like one of the biggest events outside of the Olympics for the women's hockey. Before we had the PWHL. And if you have been living under a rock, the women's game, there is a massive rivalry between Team USA and Team Canada. This is where we get to see it play out. It's going to be an epic tournament that's happening. It's from players across the world too. They rotate where it's hosted. This year it's hosted in New York, upstate in Utica. And here's some fun facts for you. The US has made it to the gold medal game in all 22 of the IIHF Women's World
That is
Championships.
awesome.
Is that not insane? If
Yes.
you don't think there's talent there, like, I don't know what you're doing with your life. But they've won the gold in 6 of the last 8 tournaments, most recently in last year in 2023. They beat Canada, and it's a big deal. So tune in, watch the women. This is like the best of the best playing. And this is, I don't remember if it was you I was talking to, but this is what I was talking about when we look at the PWHL. So many of these players are teammates in the PWHL, but rivals when it comes to this. And so it's such a switch. So you're going to see a little bit of different hockey being played, because this, I think, is almost a bigger deal to the women right now. Maybe in time, it might be like, it'll be a big deal when we get to the like playoffs of the PWHL, but because it's the first season. But I just think the weight of this tournament is so much bigger.
I like it because, like you said, it's totally different. And I think there's something, it's a tournament, but there's something behind playing for your country. And I think this is what gets the women going, that it's like, yeah, you're playing and you are representing your country. So that is, I'm excited for this. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we can watch. I forgot to look that up, but just look it up on their website. I'm sure they will probably be airing this in Canada on TSN, because Canada does women's hockey on a bigger scale than we do here. But I'm sure games will be streamed somewhere. So try to tune in and really enjoy some hockey if your team is already out. If your NHL team is already out of the playoffs, or you don't have a dog in the fight right now during these next 2 weeks where none of it matters to you, go watch the women. Something
I
else.
think
Yeah.
for that, I think the NHL network does a really good job at airing a couple of the games. I don't think they do all of them. They'll do them sporadically, but
Mhm.
if you don't see them live, they'll replay them like later in the night. It's
Mm.
just a matter of what is it? Just checking their the schedule. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I know the games, well, they'll be in New York, so it's only a 3 hour difference to me, but it's on your time zone. But
Yeah.
just checking that, because when they're overseas, sometimes they won't play it
Mm.
live. They'll give you, like, say, I don't know, Switzerland and Sweden. And then it's like, damn, USA and Canada, it's also playing at the same time, but they'll replay it right after. So
Oh,
they're
okay.
really good. At least the NHL network's really good at that.
Good to know. Thank you for giving them the kudos they deserve, because I don't do that often enough. If you have NHL Network.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Something I need to get a hold of, though, is the PWHL has 2 Barbies now. They made like Barbies. Did you see this?
Mhm. No, let me
There's
look
like
it up.
real Barbies, and they're wearing the purple hoodie that I need. Like when I went to the game, right? We were like, get a purple hoodie, and I was like, they don't have any. So they're wearing like, I think they're the players, and I don't know if they're for sale or not, but Barbie, has been a sponsor, or at least Barbie Canada in Canada has agreed to partner with the league, and there's now official Barbies out, and they're wearing PWHL gear.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
gosh, it's
Yeah.
so cute.
I know. I feel like I need one of them to put behind me here, on my little display here next to my Funkos. I feel like I need to get a Barbie and put that up. But that's an exciting moment, I think, just for women and young girls, to be able to see that. I think it's a really big deal. So I had to shout that out.
No, that's really cute because even me, when I watched the Barbie movie, anybody can tell you I was most excited to see our representation of the hockey Barbie. Yes,
Hmm.
the message is nice before anybody comes after me about, oh, you missed the message. No, I
No,
get it. Cute movie, but I was so excited.
so
I
was
was like,
I.
hockey Barbie, yes.
So was I. I was like, they put Hockey Barbie in there. That's like huge. So I was super excited. Thank you, Greta, and Margot Robbie, for making that choice. We love you. If
That
I
was
ever
awesome.
get to meet Margot Robbie, which probably wouldn't happen, but there's always a chance, right? I would be like, I just want to say thank you for putting Hockey Barbie in the Barbie movie. That really meant the world to us female hockey fans.
It
She's
did.
gonna
It really did.
she's gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" Okay, sure, yeah.
What? She was in there?
Yeah. And something else exciting to mention briefly, the Canadian Embassy threw an entire watch party for the PWHL to celebrate the inaugural season. I'm not sure really what the Canadian Embassy is. Like, I don't know what kind of a big deal that is, but I know that's their something in their government, obviously. And for them to do that to celebrate, we need a little more like USA get behind our PWHL teams, and I think it's a good example, and I just wanted to share that so everybody knows that Canada is really supporting this league. So kudos.
I really like that, and I really wish, like you said, that I guess because this is the inaugural year, they want to see how it is. But like, I want to go online, like NHL shop, and see stuff that I'm able to buy from the
Mhm.
women's league. I want to go into the store and be able to see that
Right.
kind of stuff. So, like you said, I guess this is like a test run, but I really hope that they learn from it. We're eager to buy merch. Give us merch.
Right. Let's go. Let's go. That'll help fund the league. We will pay the money for it.
We will.
Um we will. Two exciting things to note that happened this week. Josh Stone scored on his NHL debut with his dad, Shane, of course, in the building. But the cool part about this was both father and son became the second father son duo in NHL history to record a point in their NHL debut with the same franchise because they're both with the Yotes. I think that's crazy. And what are the magical odds of that happening?
I saw the TikTok and I kid you not, I almost cried because it's one thing to if it's one thing to have it be your NHL debut. I am always a sucker for
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. Let alone
Yeah,
score, you know, in your NHL debut with your entire family there for the organization that not only
right.
drafted you, but that your father played for. And I was just
Right?
like, I wanted to cry because you see them celebrating and high fiving each other, and then they, pan out to the to the ice, and
Right.
he's celebrating too. And I was like, oh my gosh, imagine what a moment for that family. I wanted to cry. I was like, oh my gosh, it could not have played out any better. Like oh my gosh, you always remember your first. That was so great.
Yes, and I'm sure it tasted like watermelon moonshine for him. It's an incredible thing to see. I don't really feel any one way or another about Shane Doan. I mean, he's incredible, obviously, and done amazing things for the sport. But to see this happen with him and his son is just, you could see the like genuine love he had for his son, and he gave him the puck, and like you could just see that like pure excitement. And we don't always get that from these guys, and I think that was unique to see as well from Shane. And yeah, it was a special moment.
That was so cool. Like that's something that's gonna be talked about, like I feel
Mhm.
for the rest of the season as even one of the top highlights of the season. Like that was so nice.
It was. It was such a happy moment to have. And then another happy moment, we have to talk about Jonathan Quick, the winningest American born goaltender now in NHL history with 392 wins. He's a former King, Stanley Cup champion, future Hall of Famer, still crushing it, living out this incredible career. Uh, Bravo, shout out to Jonathan Quick. That's a huge accomplishment and just proof that the American players are really coming a long way. And that's like not even a question anymore, is like, are American born hockey players good? Like, yeah, they are.
We've
Proof.
mentioned three today, but
Yeah.
no, that was so awesome because I know I know when he was let go from us, or he was traded, that there was talks about, oh, is he gonna retire? Is he done?
Mhm.
What, what's next? Then he goes to Vegas. They end up winning. What's next? Is he gonna retire? He signs with his, what is it, hometown
New,
team, and he is
New York.
doing
Yeah.
amazing. And you can't help. That's all I've ever known as a Kings goalie. That's what I grew up on. So to
Right.
see him accomplish that, like, you cannot not be happy for him. Like, I'm happy for him. I'm rooting for him, not the Rangers.
Right.
I want him to continue to do well till the wheels fall off, till he says I am done. There is no doubt, as soon as like he retires, the Kings retire his number, because that is just what a phenomenal career.
Hmm. I agree. Phenomenal career. And it's not over yet.
Mm-mm.
Lots
It's
more have
not.
to be played.
It's not. And I got to watch him play actually when I went to MSG. He happened to be the starting goalie, and I was just telling like my friend that I went with, he's a Rangers fan, and I was like, the fact that you guys are getting vintage quick, this is amazing. I was like, I hate you guys because we love him for this. But, and this is back
Hmm.
in December, right? He was getting a
Yeah.
handful of starts here and there. And I was like, this man does not age. Like, he is just playing like we're used to seeing him play. And I'm like, man, I hate you guys. Love him, hate them.
Oh my God. You are so funny. Well, that's all we have for today. We've got to do our hunk of the week. And I think my hunk of the week is going to be John Tortorella, because I think it was this week he did this. He, at one of his press conferences after a game, they asked him about the goaltending, and he said nothing and then walked off the podium. And that's not why he gets it. He gets it because, I don't know, a day or two later, he came back and talked to the media and apologized and was like, that wasn't right. I shouldn't have done that. I should have said this, and gave them the quote. And when he's wrong, he says it. And I
Hmm.
admire that. And I try to follow that. And I think I've done that here on the podcast today.
He's just so awesome. Like, he's in the news a lot, and it's for just being so passionate and being himself. And I think I heard some guys say that, a lot of people say, oh, he's probably not liked with the Flyers, but I feel like we
Mhm.
just see the surface level stuff. Those guys have to respect him, and those guys have to enjoy him being their coach, because look at, that's another team. We did not expect them to be hanging in there, and they're still in
Mhm.
playoff contention as of right now. So, yeah.
Yes, they are. Who's your
And
hunker lady of the week?
I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Auston Matthews, because, like I said, I
Ugh.
don't, he's just so fun to watch. Like, he makes it look so easy. Like, it's just so crazy. Like, I could probably watch like a highlight reel of all his goals and be amazed at every single one of them. And it's just so natural to him. And like you said, American born player, and he is still killing it. Like, America.
Team USA, let's go.
Woo!
Thanks for coming over to our House of Hockey podcast and hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. And in the meantime, you can follow us on social media. Just look for House of Hockey podcast. We'll be back next week.